lacing color, stitching color, choose different materials, combine them, and really, because so many men are not aware that they're wearing shoes that are not made for them.
Growing up, older women would always recall a saying to me, saying, "You can always judge a man by the shoes he has on." On today, that same man is a more sophisticated now, where being on cruise control with his selection of shoes is not an option. That man wants to control the intricate details of the shoes, such as choosing from the materials and the textures, such as ostrich or maybe gator material, or even providing his monogram to the shoe. The question is, would this man believe that that very creation could be bought by a startup company ran by individuals who are under the age of 30 and who choose to disrupt the shoemaking industry? Awl Sundry Custom Shoe Company is a cutting-edge company who is seeking to expand not only its business model, but also the average man's mindset when choosing quality shoes. I sit down today to enjoy an afternoon with the Chief Happiness Officer, Mario Lanzarotti, of Awl Sundry Shoes. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for having me, Glenn.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. So it's a great pleasure, and actually finally sitting down again and talking with you. This is our third time seeing each other, so good thing come in threes, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So I'm most definitely loving you guys' space that you guys have invited me into. With the absence of the great founder Nick, we'll most definitely have to catch his coattail another time.
We certainly will. Unfortunately, he got sick this morning, so I will do my best to answer all your questions.
Well, we hopefully Nick will be able to say the same. Yeah. So
let's hope so.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit into. So you're from Germany.
That's correct.
From Germany.
I was born and raised in Germany. My dad's Italian, Sicilian.
Sicilian?
Yes,
okay.
So that's important.
There's
a difference there. But yeah, I was born and raised in Germany. I went to Berlin to study fashion, luxury, and retail management. And we had to go overseas for a semester abroad. And we could pretty much choose a location, but all my life New York was calling. And I chose to study at Berkeley College here, fashion management, and then I had to find an internship for myself.
Right. So we're skipping over so much, right? Like you just immediately just jumped over and said, "Hey, I'm a kid from Berlin and I just moved to New York," right? So we have to get in. I want to know a little bit about your parents' background. Like, where you because you said you specifically put the punctuation on your dad's from Sicilian. Well, he's Sicilian. And what was your parents' background as far as like what did they do?
So my dad, he left Sicily when he was 18 years old. He was supposed to get married in Sicily, and at that time marriages were pretty much, I wouldn't say arranged, but agreed upon. And he didn't quite like that idea, so he decided to jump on a train with a friend of his and let's just say, yeah, come on, let's go to Rome, let's just have an adventure. And my dad was always the kind of free spirit, and I think I have that from him. So he just took it back and went off. But his journey did not end in Rome. Instead, it took him further up north to Germany, to the northern part of Germany, Hanover, where he met my mother. And so he was working at an ice cream shop. A friend of his started that, and then he met my mother there. My mother was a frequent customer and bought ice cream, and then my father used his Sicilian swag. And like, oh, ciao bella, you want some ice cream? And of course she fell for it. And then they got married. My sister was born, and they started a restaurant, an Italian restaurant in Germany. And my father had that for almost 30 years. So he built it up from scratch on his own. It was a beautiful restaurant, very, very small, very intimate. So he valued the personal relationship with all the people. Everyone knew him. Everyone knew myself. in town there, and my mother worked at the restaurant with my dad for pretty much all her life. And she also had other jobs on the side when things were not going as good as they used to. So she had to keep on hustling. And my parents were both like very hardworking, and they did provide me with everything I could wish for.
So that was something you would say that what your dad, the legacy and the empire that your dad was building at that time, was that that was something that was very, very special to you as a kid, that you carried around as
absolutely.
pride? Yeah.
No, I saw when my parents grew up, like I knew on a very early stage that I could not work for someone else, like have a job in a corporation or anything. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but just me, I was just too stubborn to that. And I always saw my dad talking about being an entrepreneur and having your own business. He, of course, wanted me to take over the restaurant, but I had bigger goals for myself. Yeah. And I was always flirting with getting away from my town, Hanover. And then I went to Cape Town, South Africa. Went to Berlin. So
So what was the most important? What was one of the? What would you probably say? Because you mentioned one important thing for your dad, for you to run the restaurant. For him, what was another thing that was important for your parents collectively for you to do outside of running the restaurant?
I mean, they wanted me to pretty much do whatever I wanted to do. It was not something where they say, "Oh, you have to run the restaurant." It was more than, "Oh, when are you taking over?" Like jokingly, but they were always very specific on me doing what I love, and I was very grateful for that. So my parents made everything happen for me, so I could pretty much choose whatever I wanted to do. I never had to worry about not having money. So my mother always made sure that I looked top notch, that I had the latest fashion, and I think the fable for shoes I got from her, because she was very neat and she was very persistent on me taking care of my outer appearance, and I quickly developed like a passion for shoes. I remember when I was small, I always had to put them in order.
All my shoes that I buy, I always tell people they have to be a certain number amount. I'm not going to say which number. They have to be a certain number amount over, but also at the same time they're Italian. Yeah. I got that from my uncle about Italians make the best shoes. Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to that. Yeah. We can get into that a little later. But definitely, like Italy has one of the most beautiful shoes in the world. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you went to Cape Town. Why, out of all the countries? Because you're in Germany. Germany has Berlin. Then your pops is traveled in Rome. Rome is a beautiful place. Germany and Italy has some very, very beautiful places. But you decided to go to South Africa. What was the story behind that?
So it was my stepfather, because my parents are divorced. They divorced when I was 6, and then my stepfather came into my life at the age of 7 or 8, and he went to South Africa in his school time when he was 17 or 18. And for me, it was very clear that I wanted to do like an exchange, but I always said I don't want to go to America because everyone went to America, and I was like, no, I want to do something else. Because for me, it was important to do things differently. I didn't want to follow everyone else. So he proposed, why don't you check out South Africa? And then we went on a family holiday trip. Started in Cape Town and ended up in the middle of nowhere, where my school essentially was, the boarding school at St. Andrew's College. And I ended up staying there for 6 months. It was a very, very intense experience, like completely different. It was like military style, but I think that was the point where I grew up, where I became a man. Because I used to just like hang around, like not care about what I do and be the cool guy on the block. And then I really had to learn, because I had to learn the hard way. And that brought me to South Africa, and there I fell in love with the country. And ever since, I go back to Cape Town every year. We have family in Cape Town. My sister lives there. My niece lives there. So we're very connected to Cape Town.
Yeah. So when you start going to college, what was your major?
So I studied fashion management, fashion luxury and retail management.
In Cape Town?
No, in Berlin.
Okay.
After I graduated school, that was just school.
Oh, just school.
Yeah,
okay.
I was when was that? I was 17. I was
Okay,
17.
so in America we call high school.
Yeah,
so
high
it's
school, exactly.
Okay. So it's boards. Okay, got you. Okay,
Exactly.
okay. But then you had a. But then before you went to Berlin, you wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be a pilot because before we even get there, you want to be a pilot.
Absolutely. I always had lofty goals, and I like to be close to the sky. So I thought, hey, why not become a pilot? The story is that after I graduated from high school, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I was always the kind of guy who was like, quick. Like, I can do it. I don't have to do much. I'll just be natural. And two things were very clear for me. One was I didn't want to study because the people that would study, they were just some bums that read books and they don't do it in real life. But I didn't have to do that, of course. So, and then number two, I wanted to earn money fast because I had my father in my life who was always making cash immediately with the restaurant. Like he didn't have to wait until some long-term investment to pay off. And I did exactly that. I Googled how to earn money fast without studying. And two things came up. Number one, becoming a gangster. And since my Sicilian blood is there, I was like, maybe. But then I came to my
your
mind.
lifespan, you may be cutting down your lifespan a little bit.
Yeah, so I was like, no, okay, forget that. And then I watched the movie, I remember, Catch Me If You Can, with Leonardo DiCaprio. So I said to myself, man, flying around the world, all these beautiful women around you, earning good money, like not having to study, that's awesome. Yeah. So I looked into becoming a pilot, and then I went to Lufthansa because it was the most prestigious airline in Europe. Yeah, and you get the best training over there.
Because they only train on that program, and that's a German airline, correct? Yeah. And they only train up to 200, pilots a year. Yeah. Right.
97% of the people who apply fail, and if you fail at one stage, you can never apply again in your life. So it's really hardcore. It took me a year to get in, and after I got in, I quickly realized like, this is not what you wanted to do with your life, and I was very unhappy. I was depressed. Yeah. I got to a stage where it got so bad where I developed a slipped disc in my back, and I couldn't walk anymore, I couldn't sit anymore and sleep, and the mental stress was wearing me down to a point where I got to one day where I was close to committing suicide. Oh wow. That was really the deepest fall of my life. Was it from the
injury, or was it just?
It was both. The injury, the mental state, my emotional state, everything came together. But it was all anchored in the decision of choosing a way that is not bringing you fulfillment. So rather something for the quick buck, and for everyone else to be happy. Because everyone was so proud of me when they saw, oh my God, he did it. He was accepted at Lufthansa, and now he's becoming a pilot. So everyone was ravaging about that. They were like, oh my God, we're so proud. And I didn't feel that, but I couldn't quit because I felt this duty to my parents and my friends to not disappoint them. And then at some point I said, hey, it's either death or life. So it was very simple. And then I chose life, and I said, okay, I have to pull myself out of this and just reinvent who I am. And then I went to Cape Town to just clear my head. And I did, and I came back and I started studying in Berlin. Yeah. And that brought me to New York.
Yeah, Berlin. But Berlin, you really kicked butt. I wouldn't say that word, but you kicked butt in Berlin because you were at a point, you were at a point to where now you're moving into, you said fashion, and of course that's the main reason why we're sitting here. But what was it about what took you from a point of wanting to being a pilot to going into fashion? Because you have a father that, in the food business, and then, but of course, being, having those two different countries and, different cultures from Italy and Germany, of course, great style, but you're getting up in age now. And fashion is one of those things that is it's a very, very fickle type of industry, and it takes a lot of confidence and a lot of boldness about yourself to actually enter. So how did you come to a point of deciding that you're going to study and make your way within fashion?
So I knew after I quit Lufthansa, I always wanted to do something in the management direction. So I didn't want to just do an apprenticeship somewhere, because I knew that I wanted to build something at this point. Like I had enough of just following orders and doing what you're told, but rather I always knew that I had enough creativity in me to create something. And fashion was always something that was very present in my life, mainly due to my mother, because my mother always took great care of the way I dressed and the way she dressed. And I had this passion for fashion, but I never really thought about it actively. It was always there. It was just there. And of course, coming from Italy, you are always faced with the artisanal background of Italy, the history, the culture.
Big
It's just present, and so it made sense for me to look into fashion. But I didn't want to do fashion design, because I have two left hands. Like don't even get me started on that.
Or you can point somebody to the directions.
I can tell them. I can tell them I would
them.
like to have it this and that way. But if you did, okay, you do it yourself, I'm out.
Right. And being from Italy, that is something, the craftsmanship. That's a must. You
Absolutely.
have to know it, do it, and understand it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's why I looked into something more creative, something that has the sophistication of the management background, but the creativity of fashion. And I did research, and I found Berlin, and one of my best friends was living in Berlin, and I already visited him there, and I loved the city. I always needed something more vibrant than the town I came from, Hanover, which is a bit more gray, I would say. So Berlin, with all its colors and influences from all over the world, was the number one choice for me, and it was a good choice.
Yeah. And you went to work for a company, at the time, and you became you were just working with the company, and then you began to get you were the bridge to getting them a big sponsor.
Yeah.
What was that company?
That company was called Capital Consulting Company, and the way it worked was that one of our professors at the university was the CEO and founder of that company. He was teaching luxury, and I developed a good relationship with him, and he was looking for interns, so he hired like five of us out of my class as interns, and during that internship we could pretty much choose whatever we wanted to do. And I told him, hey, I would like to work on something with a luxury event space, and there was a luxury gala night coming up at the Russian embassy, combined with a luxury exhibition in Berlin. And so he said, yeah, we need a sponsor for like cars, shuttle services, because there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of CEOs and presidents, people with money, so we need to impress them. So let's just reach out to Porsche. And I said, hey, why don't we do something new, something more creative, innovative? And I knew that Uber just came into Berlin at that point. They were a couple of years
old. Uber is a German word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they came, and I just cold called them. Just call them and say, hey guys, what's up? This is what we do. Would you like to sit down and just talk and see if we can collaborate? And at that time, I'd never done something like that. I was a student, so I never had any experience. But I just said, whatever, I'll just do it. And I called them, and I met the chief marketing officer for Germany. And he was a super cool guy, and he was a gamer. And I was able to talk with him about gaming, because at that time I used to game it myself. And we just talked and kept on talking, and then he agreed to take over the entire sponsorship for the shuttle service for the 2 days. So all the Uber tickets were free, everything, and they had the most amazing cars.
Now let's take a step. Let's take a step back.
All right.
You're going into a room with an executive officer. Never done it before. Never done it before. Now, to some people, that's a lot. That's a lot to prepare for, because, you know, when you're young, you're looking at all these big companies. You know, money can be it can be intimidating, because you know this person is sitting on a stack of money and you need it.
Yeah.
How did you prepare, or what did you say within that meeting that allowed you to not only secure them as a sponsor for the gala, but also at the same time then after that, you become an ambassador.
Yeah.
You become their ambassador in Berlin.
So I sat down and I thought, what can I offer them that they don't get just by coming to Berlin and just paying some money? And the answer was access. So the company I was working for, the consulting company, they were very good at connecting people. And I knew that because I spoke with the CEO and the founder, and he told me that, yeah, I know a lot of people in a lot of industries, so that's really my biggest asset. So I thought, hey, what can I offer these guys in order to get some money for them? And of course I was scared because I was this young student, I've never done that, but I was like, actually I don't have anything to lose here. I can just gain. Whatever I get out of it is pure gain. And so I proposed to them. I said, hey guys, listen, you're new in the city. We can connect you with the biggest high roll this year. You step into a network where you can easily amplify and get more and more out of it, other than just pumping online marketing money into whatever network you deem possible for your audience. But you have a guy here who's young, who's willing to hustle for you, and that's what I ultimately offered him. I said, I'm going to hustle as much as I can.
You said those exact words, hustle.
Yeah. Oh, I love hustle. The word hustle is awesome.
Yeah.
And he liked the idea. He said, okay, sure, let's do it. Of course, Uber at that time, they had a huge budget, so they were easy on giving it out. But still, it was great for us, and it was great for them. They got a lot of clients that started using Uber afterwards. Especially the kind of clients that you want to have.
Where?
So yeah, that's I think not fearing that I had anything to lose, and of course preparing well, thinking about a strategy, something I could offer them they would not get anywhere else. That ultimately pulled the trigger.
So then they made you an ambassador.
Yeah, because I really put my heart and soul into the event, into the relationship, and I told every single one, because you have to understand, it was very new at that time, the whole Uber experience. Nothing else was ever seen before, especially not in Germany. And the people using Uber at that time were all these more sophisticated people, 40, 50 years top, and they don't use their cell phone a lot. So I had to go there and download it for them. They gave me their credit cards. I did everything for them. I did that with like 20, 30 people. It was all over the place. And they were there, of course, and they saw it. And they saw the results at the end of the day. And so they approached me afterwards and said, hey, Mario, we're building this ambassador program. We would love for you to become an ambassador here in Berlin. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I had my own cards, and I gave them out all the time. And I spoke to people. I said, hey, this is this new thing, Uber, you should definitely do it. And I just, I remember we went out to nightclubs in Berlin, to electronic clubs, and we just drove with BMW 7 Series in front of the door, like this electronic club, Watergate, and like all the people in tank tops, and we just arrived with this huge BMW 7 Series, and the people looking at us like, okay, who's that guy? And we were like, here we come.
Wow, man, that's so. You, as a student, and you're at Euro Business College in Berlin, right? And you're an ambassador for Uber, and then also at the same time you're at school. You started while you were at the business college. You were managing the blog as well. Yeah. So you had a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of success in Berlin, but then. That's still, you still need another challenge. You still need another challenge.
Yeah.
And this time, this challenge would be something that maybe it'll change your life. Maybe
already has.
Yeah. So you decided to do a abroad program.
Yeah. So I had to. We had a variety of locations all over the world, but I knew that fashion, New York and fashion just goes hand in hand. I mean, it's the mecca of fashion.
But you skipped over Paris, London.
Yeah, because it was the old world, the sophisticated world. New York for me represents this innovative, unstoppable spirit that you cannot get in Europe. That if you're willing to hustle, and I love the word hustle, and to just prove yourself out here, prove your value, no matter where you come from, who you are, how old you are, how big or small you are, it doesn't matter. And I think New York is the best place in the world for that. And I always have this kind of attitude that I don't want people to judge me by the way I look or where I come from, but just what I do. And that's why New York was the only option for me.
And so you came here to just study?
Yeah, at Berkeley College.
Yeah,
that was a 3 months study abroad program, and then we had to look for an internship while we were doing it, because they were not providing it.
Oh wow! So you had to come out here. So you had to come from a whole other country to a whole, come from Germany to America, find your own internship, and you stumbled upon Awl Sundry.
Yeah. So
how did you find out about the opportunity with Awl Sundry?
So before I met Awl Sundry, I had already 2 internships lined up, 2 other startups. Now one startup and another company that was doing bridal wear, and they were looking for someone to run their events.
That fits. That fits.
Well, no, yeah. It was aimed towards women. So, but they were looking someone to do the events. And since they saw what I did in Berlin with the luxury exhibition, the Uber, they then proposed doing like something with Tesla and Porsche. So I was like, wow, okay, that sounds cool. But it wasn't quite what I was looking for, because I was thinking ahead. I wanted to have an opportunity to actually then come back to New York, because I knew during my first month I was like, I want to stay in the city. This is the greatest city on earth, and I know I have to be here. So my thought always went ahead, like, what can I build here in order for me to come back? And I didn't see myself doing the bridal events or the other startup. So I went to a trunk show, which was done in collaboration with Esquire magazine, and then I encountered Nick, who was the founder and CEO of Awl Sundry, and I saw all the shoes and immediately loved them. Took up the shoes, I looked at them, and was like, wow, these are really pretty, like nice. And then I asked him a lot of questions about it, and since I'm half Italian, half German, I asked him, so where do you make the shoes? And then he said to me, yeah, I have my own manufactory close to Hong Kong and China. And I was like, okay.
You start,
It's like China. I don't know, man. That doesn't work with me. Like, I'm from Italy, it has to be made in Italy. Shoes come from Italy. And he's like, the rest doesn't work. And he's like, okay. Before you say anything else, you can make yourself a pair. It's on me. And if you like it, you'll come back and we'll talk. And the pair I made, you can just go on the website and search for it. It's called the Mario. So that was really the inception of my love story with Awl Sundry.
Yeah. So you came on as a social media intern to manage all the social media accounts.
Yeah.
Right?
So myself and 4 other interns, all from my school in Germany. We decided to do the internship together, and then each of us was assigned to do social media accounts like Facebook, Instagram, so very easy in the beginning. And then I got along very well with Nick, and I did all my tasks, and then he assigned to me, okay, can you oversee everything with social media, everything there is? I said, yeah, I would love to do that. And then I did that for a couple of weeks, and then he said, how about you start working with customers, clients? And that was bigger for me, because I'd never done that, and I didn't know much about the shoes. Of course, I read as much as I could, and I learned as much as I could, but it was still big, because the clients were like CEOs and presidents, and at that time the shoes were only $350, not $495, but still. And it was great. Like, I got to know a lot of people, and I had to really get over my comfort zone, over my fears, and calling people. I mean, you come here as a non-native speaker, and you have to call people in regards to whatever issue they have with the shoes, or just try to sell them a pair and try help, whatever it is. So for me, in the beginning, that was quite hard. I was like, oh damn it, I don't know what to say, how to say that. So I just said, oh, whatever, I'll just do it. And I kept on doing it, and everyone here was super nice, and that's the thing I love about New York. No one will make fun of you because of your accent, or because your English is not perfect. That's very different in Europe. So if you come there, you might get people look at you in a strange way. I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but it's a general feeling. Can't even justify that with facts or whatever. It's just the impression you get.
It's just the culture.
And once I got comfortable with the customers, then Nick asked me, would you like to actually manage the rest of the intern team? I said, yeah, I would love to do that. So I signed tasks with them. We did photo shoots and I coordinated everything. So I pretty much managed them. And unfortunately, they didn't take the possibility the same way I did. So they didn't see the possibility. So they were always like partying and stuff. And I can't judge them for that. Like, you're in New York, it's an awesome city, and not everyone wants to stay here, and I absolutely understand that. But for me, that didn't work. I didn't want to party as much. Of course, I went partying as well, but I wanted to prove myself, and I asked Nick specifically before I started the internship. I said, would you be willing to take me on board as a partner if this works out, if you think that I deserve it, and if you like the way we work together? And he said, yes, absolutely, because I look for someone to do that, exactly that. And so I had this goal in my mind to land that position, and it kept on growing. So eventually I hired other interns, managed them, and then I was managing customers, other interns, social media. So that was the basis I started out with.
Yeah. Oh wow, man. That's how long did it take you from coming in as an intern to managing everyone else? And then managing, you know, how the customer experience is with Awl Sundry, to then Nick gives you the golden ticket and say, before you leave, how about you become a managing partner? How many years or how long did that take you?
So it actually took 3 months because that's the time I spent here doing the internship. So
hold up. Take a step back. So you came in as an intern.
Yeah.
Came from you had to find your own internship. Came here, worked with social media, start managing everyone else that you came in working with. Then you were given the golden ticket to become a managing partner within the company. In 3 months.
Yeah, pretty much. So after everything I did with the other interns, and Nick actually said to me, why don't you stay here and you graduate here? And I said, listen man, I can't do that, I have to go back. Like, I only have 1 year to do in Berlin, and I want to do it. And of course at the time I had a girlfriend, so, and that was also one of the thoughts. It's like, I can't leave her. It's like, I have to go back, but it was all good the way it turned out. So yeah, that was really the point when after the 3 months he said to me, why don't you stay and we'll do this now full time? And I said, I will come back. So after I left, I kept on working from Germany. So that was quite difficult.
That's smart.
Because I was able to manage everything I did over there in Germany online, and I just used my Skype account to call the customers in Canada and in America.
Well, I think it was smart. I was saying, well, it's smart because, you know, you're in Germany, you're in another, because it was started in America, so you can you know, people that you meet on hand to hand, you can build that Germany, the market in Germany as well. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And so I had to come back, and then the last year at university, of course, was quite intense because it was towards writing the thesis and all the exams. So I didn't really have much free time. So I was just pretty much working for Awl Sundry and then studying, both doing it at the same time. And at that time, I wasn't earning any money because the startup was young, and Nick was not able to pay me for it because he had to reinvest the money. And I said to him, hey, that's absolutely fine. Please take the money and reinvest it, and then we'll figure out a way once we have enough resources to do that. So for pretty much, a little over a year, I worked for free. So no payment, nothing. And I got a lot of criticism for that because people were like, yeah, but you're not getting paid. I didn't have a contract or whatever. It was purely based on trust.
By your word.
Yeah, it was just the word. That's all I had, the word. Like, if Nick wanted to, he could have just quit everything the next day and said, dude, like, no, it's not gonna happen anymore. So I'm sorry. So I built all my dreams on that one possibility, but I had absolute faith in it, and I still have.
Yeah.
And that's also due to the relationship I have with Nick, because he and we get along very well. We're like brothers. And we both meditate, so that's also one of the common grounds we have. the spiritual aspect of the company, and we want to build something that is not purely based on profit, but more on the people. And I agree with that. That was always my vision, to build something better for the future for many people. So I can identify with that. I can identify with the products. I can identify with the idea behind it, and that's why I didn't need a contract. So I just trusted and I had faith, and I just gave everything I had and said, hey, if it doesn't work out, I have learned so much out of this opportunity that I'm already on a different level than I would have been if I had gone to a startup, to a corporation, to a major fashion brand, and just work in a department there.
Yeah. So you mentioned meditating.
Yeah.
And I've tried myself. That's one of the most difficult things that I've ever tried to do in my life, by far. Trying to sit there and free your mind and everything else, and also at the same time, me and you both live in New York.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live at, you're always hearing trains and everything else, and buses. What is a good method of meditating for people?
So that's a very good question. I mean, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you the way it started for me. So I used to be, and I want to be more that person again. I used to be very spontaneous and like just go out of the door and see where it takes me. And now, of course, that I'm managing this company and I have my speaking on the side, I have a lot of things on my plate. So I'm like, I can't be that spontaneous because I have to follow my schedule. But when I first came to New York, I bought myself a rucksack. For 2 weeks, I had no school whatsoever, nothing, and my friends haven't arrived yet. So I just took my rucksack and just went off. I just walked uptown, downtown, all the way. And I always wanted to find something for me to ground myself. I didn't know whether it was meditation or something else, but I bumped into transcendental meditation down in Wall Street, Beaver Street, and I looked in the mirror in the window, and I saw Oprah Winfrey and these other people, and I was like, okay, well, that sounds interesting. It's like, but nah, I don't have time for that now. I'll just keep on walking. And it was always bugging me. I was like, damn it. Okay, I'll go back. So I went in and I started speaking with the people there, and then I came back the 2 days later for an intro session. It was free, and I just started listening to it, and then I signed up for the course. And then they teach you how to meditate, transcendental meditation. There's a lot of research out there how profound it is, and it has changed my life, because it's not the kind of meditation what you just explained, like try to clear your mind and free yourself. It's really having a mantra, a specific mantra, and you have a lot of thoughts, but everything is running through your head, but you just focus on one way, and you get very clear and very relaxed and calm. You have a lot of energy. You don't need as much sleep. You are healthier.
Does the meditation change within business when the funds don't look right? Does your meditation process change when the funds are not looking correct?
You're definitely more stressed, but meditation it gets you back down.
Right.
So I don't think I could have done all of this without my meditation, because there were times where things look really bad, and don't forget, like, the visa situation is also difficult. When you come from Europe and you're not going to work for an established brand or a big corporation, then try to get a visa. So you have to really juggle and try everything humanly possible, and it's always a painful process, because you're like, oh my god, I hope this works out, I hope this works out. If it doesn't work out, what I'm going to do? Oh my god, I have to go back to Germany, find a job or do something else. It's going to be such a shame, blah, blah, blah. But then you just calm down and you meditate, and you're like, all right, there'll be a way. I don't know the way right now, but there is one.
There'll be a way. Yeah. So you moved into so your position, your role is called a Chief Happiness Officer.
Yes, sir.
But also at the same time, you're more of helping with managing, the marketing and the branding side of Awl Sundry.
Yeah.
What were some of the things in the beginning that did not work for Awl Sundry as far as on the marketing and branding the business?
I mean, for us it was very clear that we didn't have a lot of resources, because to this point everything is bootstrapped, so we don't have any external funding. So it was very important for us to invest in the right channel. But of course, you don't know the right channel before you invest. So luckily for us, people raved about the shoes and about the service and about the fact that you can pretty much do whatever you want on the website and design everything yourself. That really helped us with organic marketing. We tried a few bloggers and product placements here and there, but that didn't really do much for us because as an e-commerce brand, you have to invest a lot of money to get the right conversion. If you don't have a physical location with a pair of custom shoes where people can't touch and feel the product and see how it is made and what actually goes into it, it's difficult to do that online because people don't trust it. So you see the measurement part, you have to take the measurements and what if it doesn't fit? Well, remake at no cost, and the chances of remakes are very low, but still people don't have that perception yet. They want to go into a brick and mortar store down the road and buy their pairs of shoes there, even though it doesn't fit properly. But that was very difficult to get across. So for us, online didn't quite work. So we had to do word of mouth, which was our goal.
Wow. So what's the ideal? So you talked about that your customers love the process of actually being able to choose different variations of how they design their shoe on your website. What is the ideal customer experience that people get with Awl Sundry?
So I think there's two points to it. One is that, as you said, you can pretty much design whatever you want. You have your individual style. You get a complementary monogram. You can choose lacing color, stitching color, choose different materials, combine them, and really have something that no one else has. And I think especially nowadays, people are moving away from the high fashion brands where you just get a label and then you run down the street and say, oh, he has the same label. Oh, wow, maybe I don't feel so special anymore. And so in this world of this flooded with information and with social media, everyone wants to be themselves, but they're actually not. I think this is an awesome way how to really make your mark in a subtle way, because you don't have to have this crazy clown shoe. You can just have a subtle monogram, and that already sets you apart. So I think that's the first part, and then the second part, which is maybe even more important to a lot of people, is the fit. Because so many men are not aware that they're wearing shoes that are not made for them. I mean, you go somewhere and you buy something that is standardized for the entire industry, and you just buy whatever size 10, and if you don't fit in, that's your problem. You get a 10.5 or 11, but that doesn't fit quite well either. So maybe the width is not right or something. There's always something, and then people compromise health and comfort for brand,
and for the fashion.
I mean, I get it. I mean, there's beautiful brands out there, beautiful Italian brands out there, but they make shoes that ultimately hurt you more. They don't only hurt your wallet, they also hurt your health, and you'll feel that a couple of years down the line. And people don't think that far, of course, because they want instant gratification. They want it now, right? So, and that's the difficulty in going custom, because you have to wait. You have to wait like 4 or 5 weeks to get the pair of custom shoes, which is essentially nothing compared to what it used to be, where it was months to actually get it. But then you get something that you have for a lifetime. Months.
So break down the actual stages of that the customer, that the shoe is made in.
Yeah.
So how so from the first step on how it's made in the manufacturer, how is it?
So basically, as a customer, you choose the last of the shoe, and the last of the shoe is nothing else but the shape of the shoe. So the shoemaker it looks similar to the shoe trees,
right?
But it doesn't move, and the shoemaker models the shoe on top of that. So once you chose the last, you go into the design process. So really,
texture,
toe, exactly, the different textures, the different design patterns on the shoe, and then the shoemaker sees that on his end and he cuts the pattern. So if you have a wingtip, then he cuts the pieces together. This, for instance, is a whole cut Oxford, so it's made out of a single piece of leather. It's one of the most difficult shoes to make because you have to make sure that the hide is flawless. So if you have a scratch here or there, you can't use it. So you have to take another one. So it's more expensive making these rather than stitching together different parts of the shoe, as opposed to this. There's different parts of the shoe, different leathers used, and of course you choose the textures, the leather colors, the stitching and the lacing, and then at the end of the process, we have the measurement part. So for us, it's important to get 4 measurements: length, width, height, and instep. And with that, the craftsman can pretty much make the shoe according to your feet. So you choose a standard size, just as if you were to go to a custom suit maker, where you would fit like a 48 or a 50, and then he would make the alterations. And it's the same with us. So if you choose a 10.5, then the craftsman will look at the 10.5 and your measurements. And if you have a higher instep or wider feet or flat feet,
that is made into the modification of
yes.
Yeah.
So and then they will adjust accordingly. And you don't get that anywhere else. Like if you go to Ferragamo, Gucci, you get beautiful shoes. Don't get me wrong, and good quality, but you don't get the fit, right? You have to compromise that, and I think that's really the key of getting something that you're comfortable with. Because you walk in a city like New York, you walk in on your shoes half the day. Like, you have to make sure that's actually something of quality, something that you're getting that doesn't kill your back in years to come.
Yeah, and one of the groups of people, one group of individuals within the world that they have the most headache and it's most discomfort with shopping for shoes, clothing, anything else like that, are athletes.
Oh yeah.
And you guys have found a way to incorporate an athlete within you guys' brand, that being the strong safety Cam Chancellor. Yeah, for the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. So how did that actually partnership come about?
I mean, Cam, like, to start with, he's an awesome guy. Like, what a pleasure to work with, really. Like, I've never had the pleasure of actually working with celebrities, and I mean, going a year back or two in Berlin, I would have never imagined that. Me coming to New York and then working with a superstar here. And so it started out by us noticing on social media, on Instagram, like getting an increase in like 200-300 followers. And I asked Nick, I said, dude, did you like buy followers? And he's like, no. He's like, and then I asked him, are you sure? You can tell me. Don't be embarrassed. He said, no, I didn't. Why would I? I said, okay. So I went on the tagging part of Instagram, and I saw that this guy tagged us, and I was like, Cam Chance. I was like, who's that? Because I didn't know anything about football.
He's a young superstar.
Yeah, but when you're from Europe, you don't know anything about football. I didn't know a single player. So I checked out his profile, and I was like, football, Seattle Seahawks. And wow, okay, he had like 400,000 followers. I was like, okay, damn. I was like, well, that's nice. So so I wrote a comment and said, oh, thank you so much. And I wrote a message, thanks a lot. And he bought that pair on a shopping platform called Shop Spring.
Okay.
One of our good brand partners. And we then reached out to his personal stylist, Dex Robb. And Dex Robb, Nick and I, relationship, he came over to us many times, and we always talked, and hey, how's Cam doing? And then over the course of the last 6 months, we actually started talking about doing a collaboration, a proper collaboration. And Dex Robb and Cam, they designed the shoes with us. So we came together, and then Dex was great to work with. His vision and fashion is amazing. So especially with the shoes, beautiful shoes, and we started developing a concept for the 3 of us. And then we flew to Seattle. We had the shoes, and it was an amazing launch event. It was truly amazing. Like Cam, like the most down to earth guy you ever meet. So I was the one welcoming him. Everyone was waiting, and he came in his big ass car. It was all black. Like, I knew right away it has to be his car, because the way it just looked. It was an awesome car, a Cadillac, and I was very nervous. I was like, oh my god. I was like, so I couldn't see who was inside. It was all black, and I was like, hi, and then I was like, he was. He came down, and then he's like, oh, hey Mario, what's going on, my friend? And I was totally amazed by this guy, because he was so friendly, right? And we started having conversation. Great guy. He came in, he introduced himself to every single person in there, even the kitchen staff. He went into the kitchen to say hello. And then he danced with everyone, he talked with everyone, he stayed until the very end. And he was not the kind of guy where he'd say, oh yeah, here, check out my shoes, like me on Instagram, yo, super dope. That's it, right? He really went above and beyond.
Elaborated on.
Exactly. He just identified with the shoes, with the brand, and we're just grateful to have him.
Yes, so you guys, I mean, that's awesome that you guys are providing like great shoes, great shoes that have quality in an industry that, like sports, back in the day, like Muhammad Ali had great, great style. Um, I'm trying to think, throw me a name that I'm trying to think of. Not too many, well, Deion Sanders, I'll give Deion Sanders. People, back in the day, these guys actually styled themselves. They didn't have a lot of stylists and stuff like that. But you guys are able to provide a quality product that is very, very stylish. And I would think in a way that you guys are maybe looking at the opportunity that you guys have to rejuvenate, male style within sports, because there's not that many. Tom Brady is, pushing 40. David Beckham is up there. All these different individuals, whatever. So there's really not a lot of guys that are really, really sticking out that much for the amount of money that they make. You would think that, that brings a lot more access to a lot more stylish things. But you guys, I see that there's an opportunity that you guys can maybe rejuvenate, especially starting off with the shoes, which is most importantly, that's probably one of the biggest things that they have trouble with shopping.
No, you're right, and for us, we see that we get a lot of requests by athletes who just simply can't find a pair of shoes because they would go to get like a pair of Allen Edmonds or go with Nikes, whatever sports brand they chose to wear, but now actually having the possibility of wearing a stylish dress shoe that says, hey, this is me, Cam, this is not something you can get off the rack, I think that really pushes it beyond. Because, essentially what they have to do is play football. That's what they're good at, that's their passion. And they don't have a lot of time to really think about, hey, how do I want to dress? How can I distinguish myself even more outside the pitch, outside the field? And now they have the possibility of doing that. And Cam said exactly that to us.
Yeah. So outside of dress shoes, were you guys thinking about, because you guys just released out that you have a sneaker now?
Yeah, so we did a sneaker in collaboration with a local brand, with Shop Spring, so the brand where we discovered Cam. That was successful. Of course.
With sports.
There you go. And we did the sneaker, that was successful. We only had limited availability, but it was definitely a success. And we're always exploring the possibility of creating a sneaker, like a custom sneaker.
I seen the spread. There was like a really, really dope model that I seen.
Thank you.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Well, bootstrap.
You had the shades, and you were sitting there. It was really, really
exactly.
Cool. I was like, that's a whole different other person. So, are you a big sports fan?
Soccer.
Now that you're in New York, basketball, you have to be.
I'm like, I like watching it, but I don't get into it. I don't have the time to get into it, and it's all my old passion is soccer. So Italy, definitely that doesn't die. I wouldn't consider myself a big sports fan.
So last two questions. One,
yeah.
What personal sacrifices did you have to make in your personal life for your business, for this business, the Awl Sundry, and also at the same time for yourself, in order for it to continue to thrive?
So I would say the first one when I first started was monetary, because all the work I put in, I didn't get any pay for it, and so money and time in Berlin, because I was pretty much I wouldn't say I was missing out, but all of my friends were constantly asking me, hey, do you want to go out? Do you want to go do this and that? And I was always like, I'm sorry, like I have to work or I have to study, like either one. It was one of them. And I didn't even get paid for that. And my friends knew it, and they were quite upset. They were like, dude, you're not even getting paid for it. You don't have a contract. Like, seriously, what if it doesn't work out? And I always had to justify that. And at some point, of course, I got tired. Like, it was my thing, and I believed in it. So money, time, big sacrifice, but more than that, I would say the move to New York is my family, because like I'm here in New York, they're in Germany, Italy, and South Africa, and I'm missing out on them, so I'm not there with them. And then time is the most valuable thing you have in your life. You can be a millionaire or billionaire, but you cannot buy time. Like, the time that is gone, that's it. So you're not there. and my sister gave birth to my niece earlier this year, and I haven't been able to be there. Thanks. And I want to be there. I want to hold my niece. I just want to spend time with her, and I want her to get to know her uncle. Of course, she's still very young, so I don't think she'll remember, luckily. But still, I want to be that person, and that's hard. And that's really the sacrifice you have to make when you're an entrepreneur, when you have your own thing, something that you build up from scratch. You get a lot of negative feedback from people who tell you how you're still not there where you are. So for a long time, I had to get financial support from my family in Germany. Luckily, they were giving it to me, because I don't think I could have ever done it without them. Coming here to New York and not being able to do anything else to earn any money on the side. So it was always very difficult, and I had to super efficiently manage my money. And even here in New York, I didn't do much. Like when people always ask me, "Oh, you live in the most beautiful city. What do you do?" "Oh, I do this and that." I was like, "I just work," and I work 6-7 days a week. But for me, it's not work. It's not that I say, damn it, Saturday, I have to do this annoying podcast with this guy Glenn. I would just chill on the beach. No, it's fun. It's passion.
Yeah.
It's like what I believe in. It's I'm building something, and I do it with a delight. So I think those are the biggest sacrifices that I would consider an actual sacrifice.
One of the things that we did when we first our second time talking is that we were dropping back quotes and things like that on each other. So how I want to end this interview is provide me one of your favorite quotes.
Okay, so that's by Dr. Wayne Dyer, who unfortunately passed away. And I hope I say it the right way. He said that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I have seen that in my life over and over and over again. Just recently, I discovered, and I told you that, that in so many of my relationships where I was always pointing the finger and I was judging one. It's like, "Oh, you're wrong," and I was priding myself and making other people wrong. I was the one creating that situation, that distance. Right. And I changed my perspective. I just stepped out of there and said, "Okay, let's look at it from a different point of view." And I looked at myself and said, "Oh wow, okay, this was actually on me. So who am I to judge?" And it just helps you. It just helps you to look at things from a different point of view. If you always have something in your life that you're angry about, you have this one customer who's a pain in the ass. You're like, "Oh my god, can't you just accept it, the shoe the way it is? There's nothing wrong with it." But then I try to step out and say, "Hey, come on, calm down. What can you learn from this? What would happen if you were in his shoes? How would you feel?" And then I try to improve. I try to improve the experience. I try to improve my communication. And there's always something that you can learn from it. So I think when you step out of it and you change the view to that thing, because that actual thing is always going to be a shoe, right? You cannot make it into a hot dog. But if you look at it from this angle, suddenly you start to see different things. And hey, maybe it's not that bad. It's okay, actually, yeah, I can learn a lot from it. So to answer the question, that's my favorite quote.
Wow. Mario has taught me a lot. Just in our few times sitting down. And just want to thank you for being on the False Image Fashion Podcast. So we have Mario Lanzarotti, the Chief Happiness Officer of Awl Sundry Shoes. And I wish you much success, and we'll do some great things in the future, I see.
Thank you very much, Glenn. It was a great pleasure being here with you on this awesome podcast, and I see this is going to grow, and it's going to get to the place that it deserves. And I am very grateful to have been part of it, and I would love to be part of it again in the future.
Well, we thank you, Mario, for being on the False Image Fashion Podcast.
Thanks a lot.